Everyone loves it. Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to the RC Groups live hangout on YouTube. I feel like I've done this over and over today.
It's good to see you guys for the first time today.
It's almost like deja vu, you know? So we're joined by Mike McDougal, longtime reviewer of RCGroups.com, also predating RC Groups all the way to Hobby Lobby International. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, I'm just sitting around here being home quarantined, but having an opportunity to build a lot of airplanes, which isn't a bad thing.
So you've been a reviewer for RC Groups since the year of 2006.
Absolutely.
And now let me ask you this. I used to send out airplanes for review for Hobby Lobby. Did you and I work together pre-206 and do that as well?
I don't know. I mean, it depended on who RC Groups at that time was working with, but I don't remember specifically working with you. But okay. Yeah,
Jason, did you send stuff to Mike?
I certainly did send stuff to Mike.
All right.
And then Mike's also worked with my wife, who used to work at RC Groups, and she handled all the reviews. And yep. And I will say she was also a moderator. So
yes, she was.
For many years, I could commiserate on moderation issues, and then one day she said, "You know what? This benefits no one. Let's never talk about moderating again." So we never do, unless something really crazy happens. Hey, I got a crazy story for everyone. Yesterday, the site went down, and seconds later, Jason said, "Did you get this message?" I'm pretty sure it's okay to talk about this.
Yes.
And I was like, hold on, where? And so we got a message through Facebook that said, "I crashed your site." Now we get a lot of weird messages, but no one's ever taken responsibility for crashing our sites before. And immediately,
did they want a ransom?
Yeah, I was like, "Where's the Bitcoin ransom?"
It felt pretty creepy, Then my phone rings, and all of this is happening at one time, and I look, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, am I going to answer it?" And it was my wife, and she goes, "Somebody just called me and said that they don't know me, but they crashed the site and they wanted to talk to you." And I run upstairs, and it was a user. And it turned out that this user really likes RC Groups, but he felt like he crashed the site by pushing 2 buttons. And so it coincided with what happened, and he thought maybe that he was responsible. So nothing creepy at all.
No.
Oh, wait, that's not how we do it.
Just a minor server issue.
Yeah. So
yeah, I was wondering because I was trying to get on, and it, was giving me the 404 error and that kind of stuff, and that doesn't usually happen.
It wasn't down for too long, but usually, we had a lot of issues, and then they got on top of it. And if it ever went down, it would only go down for like 60 seconds while they were doing maintenance or something. So this was the longest it's been down in a long time, and it wasn't down long enough for me to get upset. So that's good.
Yep.
So what we're going to...
Can't be without my RC Groups for over 60 seconds. So.
That's right.
We should talk about that. Today we're going to talk about a couple of reviews that a review just came out of Jason's, and then Mike has more than a couple out that we might be able to talk about. And then we're going to have Nikolai on next week to talk about his review that is coming out. And then Mike's got another review coming out, so we'll see what he's doing next week.
Before we go there,
yes,
can we just say Carbon Z GB? Anybody?
Ooh, yeah. Carbon Z GB. It even has a good ring.
Carbon Z G. I can't even say it. Carbon Z GB. Carbon Z GB. Carbon Z GB. Carbon Z GB. If you get it, you get it, and when you got it, you got it. But let's get it, Horizon. Come on.
So what happened was I was invited to a live real flight fly, which, by the way, I was busy flying. I couldn't see how they were cutting this thing, live. Yeah. They were on my airplane like a lot. And so they would ask me questions, and then I would be like, I'd just crash and answer, not knowing that they were like monitoring my flying while I'm trying to get the airplane down to answer a question. Anyway, I was
guys judging your skills in real time.
Well, at the end, I finally pulled it through, and I did like a 10-minute one wing flight with Jim Burke's airplane. Yes. And I didn't even know they had it on me. They had the camera on me. I'm like flying, landing, taking off one wing. But I took the GB up initially because I had a plan, and my plan was I didn't know who would be there. And I don't know who, I don't know exactly who does what in that company, but I did drop this idea that Jason's heard me lament about this for probably 2 or 3 years now, that I want a Carbon Z GB and how awesome that would be. And when I said that, somebody, and I think it was Dustin Boucher, he goes, okay, I'm listening. And I thought, holy cow, maybe the right guy has finally been in front of me. Yeah. And so somebody else, and I think it was Jason, he said, why don't you do a story? Somebody did a story and enough people replied, we'd have to make it. And I said,
heck yeah.
I said, say no more. I'm the guy. That's me. I am that guy, So, and I've got it. I can go over here. I did create the story. Let me make sure we're good.
I saw it and I was like, yes, let's make it happen.
Yep.
So we're going to jump on RCGroups and we're going to go over there and I'm going to show you how to take action. So we've had some ability to play a part in creating new airplanes in the past, but I don't think ever in this capacity. So if you go down here, you will see the Carbon Z GB. And I intentionally made it almost look like it was a real thing. So this is a Great Plains Carbon GZB, as you'll see in a minute. I tell the story about how this happened, and then I have a link here, and you go to the link, and there is a poll, and then you can vote in the poll. And so my goal is to get as many votes as possible in here to get the attention.
Oh, I didn't see it was a poll when I looked. I have to go vote. I need to go vote.
Well, that's bad, because if you didn't see it, then who else didn't see it? Our chance to make it real, vote. So maybe I'll put vote.
Yeah, where it is, I don't even see it now. Oh, vote here link. Yeah, that's pretty small.
Okay.
Easy to miss.
Well, let's go edit it, shall we?
And voter ID is not required to vote on this. So
you do not have to be there in person.
If you're an illegal immigrant, go vote. It's okay.
So this is Don Anderson, and if you're new to the hobby, you don't know Don. Don was sort of an icon. This is so cool to me. I guess cool is the word. I have a charger in the back, and I guess it was a review charger or something, but I guess they ran out of chargers to send out to people like me. So the charger on the bottom has a big white piece of tape and it says Don Anderson on the bottom. So they sent me Don Anderson's charger. Yes. I was like, wow, that's I don't know. I just thought it was so cool. Awesome. And so this is kind of the size that I think the GB should be too. I don't think it should be too big, I don't want battery packs that I can't afford.
I think we got to have an 80-inch wingspan to qualify for Carbon Z. I don't know.
Well, and I did Google that. No. There appears to be a wingspan, a giant scale span, but maybe this plane is a little different. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
quarter scale. It can be quarter scale and not be 84 inches. Yeah.
That's probably quarter scale. So then the other thing is starting to happen that I hoped would happen. People are starting to give input, like wingspan, battery size. There's a really long one here talking about limitations on, let's say that 6 people at the field wanted them, which is the prediction that people will buy these up and fly together and gaggles, right?
Yes.
So then I'm over here saying it's maybe a trim schemes on the plane, but your decal sets allow you to change what's on the bottom of the wing, what color or number you have, or what color checkerboards you have. And that way you could differentiate your GB from other GBs. Or you can have different numbers like 10 or 9 or 3 or whatever, So it's very interesting. We could actually affect this if we tried. And that's cool. There's one other thing while we're here. We might as well talk about the contest, which I can no longer say without hearing my daughter. I wonder if I can play that. I found a recording of my daughter saying, I was getting her to do the VO for the podcast. Yeah. All she could say was contest. It's not funny unless you see it. But so we have the RCG Plus contest. It's a $49.95 value. We're giving away Plus contests once a day. And all you have to do is talk about what you're flying right now.
You're getting a plus. You get a plus. And you get a plus. And you get a plus.
So we gave one away today to T. Mulligan. He asks, what do I do now? I answer, You don't do any damn thing. You just you just get it. So
Yeah,
now so now you just go to this thread and tell us what you're flying or what you want to fly. And then at the end of the day, or probably the next morning, I'll go in. And my wife was like, well, how are you picking this? And when will it end? And I said, whenever I want it to, and any way I want. You know, I'm not, I'm out of the realm of strict guidelines and rules.
You're not gonna lock Jim Graham into a box. Come on.
No, yeah, no. I'm
Ain't
just
gonna
gonna,
happen.
like, I thought, well, the first guy, was it the first guy? Let's see. There was one, this guy, I was like, that is the longest post ever. Maybe he should win. And then I was like, no, you can't paint parameters around the length.
You're just trying too hard.
Well, maybe next time I'll pick the longest post. But this time I just read them all. And I was like, I'll pick this guy. So anyway, that's cool. So now we've got a couple of reviews. There are other news items we can talk about at the end of the hour. But now we have a couple of reviews to go over. And since Mike is our guest, let's start out with Mike, and let's make sure Mike's head is up here.
Yeah, man. I'm here.
So you seem to be the go-to person for Horizon and their smart technology, which I commend you for, because it is not easy to review something like this. Tell us about it.
Well, and it really isn't, but my background, electrical engineering, 35 years in the industry, and, just kind of a build my own transmitters, receivers kind of thing back in the Heathkit days. And, so I've always kind of enjoyed the electronic stuff. But when they started out with AS3X, I was hooked. I loved it. And this is kind of AS3X on steroids, and for chargers and speed controls and, all the neat information. I've got a whole shop full of tools that I plug into an airplane to check the watts and the volts and the amps and all the cool stuff to see how's the plane going to perform, but you do it on the bench, and there's no way of telling once you launch that airplane into the air, what is it really doing? Mm-hmm. So this new smart technology, the speed controls, the receivers, all that good stuff is going to let you see real time what the plane's doing. I mean, it's amazing. So I'm really enjoying it. I kind of geeked out on the review, and there's a whole bunch of screenshots down there of the different watts and amps and volts and things that it will do, that'll show you. But the ones you use most in reality are going to be the ones that show you the min-max. So it's kind of an after the fact. You land, you look at it, it'll tell you what your maximum current draw was, your maximum watts. And it's going to tell whether you overamped your ESC, or, whether you're hurting your plane, or how much did your prop unload if you change props, and see how it works. So neat stuff. And what they did was they started out with, they had this couple of receivers that the fairly inexpensive ones. There's like a 400, the AR 400, and then the AR 620, little 6-channels. They're like $29 and $39 receivers. And they went ahead and fixed these things so that they would give you all this smart data. So it's so cool. I mean, you just plug these in, you have to update them, get online and use their little cord and update the firmware inside the receivers. But once you've done that, you plug it into a smart ESC, and then put in a smart battery if you really want to get data. And it's amazing. So that's kind of, I was sold on the stuff. Yeah. Doing a review on something you really like and something that you get a lot out of, it's a lot easier to do that review.
Yeah. That's man, when I'm picking something to review, it's like, do I actually want this, or would I like it? Yeah. If the answer is no, then I'm like, no thanks.
That's kind of the way I've gotten to be. Before, there was a time when if it came up for review, I was on it. I've got to do it. I've got to have it just to do the review. But now maybe I'm getting old. Who knows? I get a little pickier. Maybe that's it. And but I'm really sold on this stuff. I mean, if you can't tell already, I mean, I was sold on AS3X because we had guys in the club that had medical issues. One of them had a stroke and was having trouble with his hand. He couldn't fly. So we were able to get him on smart technology and fly him on safe. And if it wasn't for that, he'd be out of the hobby. And he loved the hobby. So, what a great thing to have available to us.
And AS3X, I think, really comes into play with something like if that GB was ever made into a real airplane. That would make it actually landable, flyable, a traditionally hard plane to fly.
Absolutely.
So tell me, I see a series of radios being used here. Do you have a radio you primarily use?
Well, I'm using the IX12 now. I was a DX18. That was my go-to transmitter. I still have it. It's kind of my backup now. I'm trying to learn the IX12. If I get a little coin, I may try to learn the IX20 if they ever come back into stock. But I tried to do the review from the standpoint of I'll go to both ends of the spectrum. The 6E is the economy model, the 6-channel, the cheapest one you can get, and yet all the data is available. I mean, it comes up on the screens. You can see all of those different screens. You can see the battery meter. How cool is that to be able to get that on a 6E transmitter?
The 6E is really robust. I'm pretty sure, because I own a couple of versions of the 6, it actually does wireless head tracking on FPV goggles too.
Wow.
On
Okay.
padded tilts. And it also is a wireless buddy box.
Oh, it is wireless buddy box because I use it all the time on mine. And with safe technology, I put safe on all of mine and enable it just because I'm on a buddy box, folks. I mean, I don't care if it's a pattern plane or, it doesn't have to be a Valiant. I've got a Valiant that I've got set up for training purposes. And that's a fun airplane to be able to fly because it'll do all kinds of stuff. But I'll put anybody that wants to get on the buddy box, I'll bring that thing out, my 6E, fire it up, and put them on the sticks.
Well, in the same vein, let's see if I have it here. You did a review on the safe chargers.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Well, and it's not safe chargers, but it's the Spectrum smart chargers. And here's the 2100, which was a dual port. You can charge 2 at a time, 2 batteries at a time. You got your balance ports there. You can separate 1 and 2. And the nice thing is you just plug the battery in. I mean, the new batteries like this one here have got, if I can get it up there where the lead will show, if you can see right in the middle of that connector, there's actually a pin in the very center. And what that does is that's your smart lead, because you can see the wires. You got your fat wires, and there's actually a little thin gray wire in there. That's where all the smarts from the battery goes into the ESC. And you can actually, while you're flying, look at individual cell voltage. You can look at the temperature of the battery pack, the current in the battery pack. I mean, it's really cool to be able to do that. But the nicest thing for the charger and the battery is you can program in the time that you want that battery pack to begin a self-discharge. The pack will start discharging after whatever number of hours you want to program in. I think it starts as a minimum of 12, goes up to 240. But as soon as you charge it, that number of hours later, it'll begin self-discharging if it's not down to storage voltage. And it'll take itself down to storage voltage and just sit there until you charge it again.
That's
really it's been a pain for me to go out and fly, and then the batteries I don't use to have to go back and then put them into a storage charge mode on the charger and have to deal with all that. So it's nice to have that happen automatically.
It really is. And I mean, I don't know how many guys at the field, I keep preaching about keeping things at storage voltage, and they'll leave their packs fully charged just because they might go flying sometime this week. And all the batteries look like puffy tacos. So.
Yeah, well, you could do that back in the early days of lipos, but they don't work so good doing that now.
Mm-hmm. Not the good new ones with all the high capacity. They don't like it. Tell the guys at the club, I said, the only time a LiPo battery is happy is when it's at storage voltage. It doesn't like to be fully discharged. It doesn't like it when it's charged. I mean, the instant you take it off the charger, it starts deteriorating until it gets back down to storage voltage. So, I don't know which one of the gurus at one of the battery factories was and talked to me. He said, on a molecular level, down at the little molecules and atoms, as soon as you take it off the charger, the thing starts to micro bridge. It actually starts to short out molecules across the plates. The longer it stays charged, the more of them short out. But you got billions and billions of cells in there. But eventually, the longer you leave it charged, the more you're going to short out, and the worse your performance is going to get. So it made a lot of sense.
I had no idea about this, by the way. So I guess I should have talked to you a few years ago, Mike.
It could have saved a lot of batteries.
Yeah.
Well, I do have that title of #1 lipo killer. Now I know what the problem is.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, real quick, going back to the radios with safe mode and then the wireless training system, Nick on the chat says he keeps having issues getting the safe mode set on the master transmitter to go to the slave, saying the slave always seems to be on beginner mode. So it's like the setting isn't transferring over.
He may have his aux channel, his number 6 channel. He may not have set it as the safe channel, and the default is safe always on. So it won't go fly normal until you reset that.
Okay.
That's
well,
possible.
hopefully that helps, Nick.
Well, should we move to Jason's review?
Yeah, I want to hear about that one.
We can. It's the sweetest little sweetheart UMX plane you'd ever have.
Jason Cole takes a UMX Turbo Timber for a spin and provides his thoughts below in the RCGroups review.
It really is, for me, kind of the culmination of all the years of microplanes coming together into this bad boy and making it what you would want in a little microplane, because little planes aren't new. They've been around forever. We've always had them. I think probably the quintessential UMX plane everybody thinks of is the Champ, right? That was around for a long time, one of the best beginner planes you could get at the time. And they kept bringing more and more UMX planes out. And I think the original UMX Timber, which is discontinued now, so many people fell in love with that airplane. It was, had flaps and ailerons and this big Tundra tires and can do some, really cool things with it that you normally couldn't do with microplanes. And so when I saw this came out, I was super excited. I usually don't like turbo style aircraft, which is interesting to me because I love this one. Like, I don't know, something about the nose doesn't bother me, and then I like the turbo exhaust and the 3-blade prop. It just looks cool to me, and I dig the color scheme that they did, the red and black and white and gray. It looks good. Like, I don't think, oh, it's an ugly turbo plane.
So how do the flaps work on such a little airplane?
Yeah, well, just like any big airplane, there's a servo connected to them.
But I mean, it flaps on a little plane fly the same as flaps on a big plane?
Yeah, and you can kind of see they're not little flaps. That's a pretty wide chord, same as the ailerons. But you basically have, if I can show you the whole wing, there you go. You've got half aileron, half flap, and the flaps are linked. It's one servo driving them with, you might be able to see it if I flip it around. Yeah, you can see the wire on this side. So it's got a wire control mechanism that goes in and attaches to the servo. But I've got a 3-position switch set up to where I can do like takeoff flaps and then full deflection for landing flaps. And they come down barn door style, like a long way deflection. And they are incredibly effective. If you just look at the speed difference from flying normal and then with the flaps down, it's a tremendous difference in the amount of speed, which makes it pretty versatile because you can fly it at full throttle clean with the flaps up. It's pretty fast, for a microplane, and highly aerobatic if you want it to be, and turn the rates up. And then you can also slow it way down, and even indoors, you can fly in a gym, no problem, do circuits, figure eights, flips, inverted flight, rolls, all that stuff. So it's extremely versatile, which is one of the nice things about it. And then full flap into some wind with the big tires and everything, it almost doesn't even move forward. It can almost just leap off of the ground straight up, which is awesome. Same thing coming down the land. You can really kind of almost semi-harrier it down with enough wind and just plop it down on the wheels.
Does no one ever use slats?
I don't even know why they included them. They did design them. You've got slat locations on the front, and they provide them in the kit that you can glue them on later. But I really don't know many people that use them. They, they help the slow flight handling characteristics a little bit better, but they hinder the aerobatic characteristics. So for me, it's a trade-off that I'm not willing to make. I'd rather have the best aerobatic setup, and the slow flight with the flaps, everything is still amazing on this airplane. So they're not worth it in my opinion. But if you like slats, leading edge slats, and want to use it, go for it. It's there. You can just glue them on. Not a big deal.
Where's this at?
This is a local park in Nashville. I can't remember the name. Some friends had us come out, and there's a track to the left of that baseball diamond, and we would go running and play some soccer and stuff on the soccer field. But this is the baseball field, and I was like, it's empty pretty much. There was like one guy working out or something, but I was like, you know what? It's a perfect evening. There's no wind. Let's go fly this plane. I was like, I don't have Mike Hines here or Jim to video up, so I was like, I got my wife on the camera.
She did.
I was like, hey, no sweat, babe. If you can't do a good job, we'll go do it again some other time. But if you get good footage, we'll use it. So
will you do me a favor and tell her that I said she did an awesome job?
Yeah, I was like, hey, with no experience, pretty darn good, huh?
Mike, isn't it hard to find somebody to actually shoot a video?
It absolutely is. I think I've come really close to divorce. I mean, we've been married 49 years, but the closest I've come is when I've asked her to do the video on my airplanes. She did some on the boats when I had the boats out here in front of the house, and she did really well. And I had a Grumman widgeon that we did off the water, and she did really well on that. But you know, when I put her on, I think it was the Rifle 1M. Of course, that's 140 miles an hour. She was having a little trouble keeping up with that.
No one can shoot those videos.
And she does a good job. I think she really does, and she tries hard, and she's just down on herself. She just doesn't think she does a good enough job. But I've got one guy in the club that takes pictures, and when I can get him out there and get the wind to cooperate, luckily he just retired from Southwest Airlines, so hopefully he'll be available a little more.
My daughter studies media MTSU, and I told her that I was going to enlist her. We were going to go shoot some video. Also, Jason, what I was saying earlier is that they want me to do some rock crawler reviews again, which, I enjoyed. And I have this whole new system over here, and I was like, man, I could use all the stuff I bought. So.
Yeah. And then, so a couple more things on this plane. I did increase the throws on the elevator and the rudder. It does have enough power for 3D, so you can hover this thing, but I needed more rudder and elevator, so I moved the holes in a little bit from stock, and you can set up dual rates and everything. And then I guess my biggest gripe with it was just something in the manual, and it's something little. Like, you've got the whole nose is a hatch. The whole top half from the basically leading edge of the wing all the way forward is a hatch. And the instructions in the picture, which is, if you've never had one of these, never opened one before, that's what you're looking at when you're like, okay, it's a foam hatch with magnets, and it's got a little foam tab, and if you lift on the wrong end, you're going to rip the tab off and break it and have to glue it back on. Not the end of the world. But in the picture, the diagram shows it with the back up higher, and it's like that, you would lift from the back and open it up, and that's completely backwards. So you got to lift from the nose up and out. So I was like, well, that could throw people off. And then I did add my own Velcro because I don't really like the super thin, barely hold kind of Velcro that they provide with these. So I just swapped it over to my own stuff. But hands down, gotta have it airplane. It's like, it's cheap. The batteries are cheap. You can have a billion of them. It's fun. It's durable. It's a hoot. It's versatile. You're going to have a good time. It really is my favorite ultramicro plane to date so far of all time. And you got to get one if you like these things. You're going to have a blast with it. That's my opinion.
And it retails for, scrolling through your flight shot,
that's top in the specification sheet.
But while he's looking for that, I have to agree with you on the slats, Jason, because even on the other timber, the full-size timber, I've had people that put them on, and we end up taking them off because I don't want to sacrifice the aerobatics either. I put mine on just because I had to see how it would perform, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So, yeah, they came off.
Yep. I see that a lot. They're like, no, thanks.
I've never seen anyone put them on. And my thing is, why aren't they snap in, snap out? So you could try it or pop it back off,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool if you could do it without non-destructive way to attach them and take them off.
In the real flight session, I also got to voice my theory that all Horizon planes should have channels in the wings and the fuse. I said, look, don't put anything in there. Just give me channels. And if I want to slide LEDs in any plane I buy from you, I would love to have that ability. Make anything a night flyer, you know?
Speaking of LEDs and night flyers, I'll just a quick sneak peek of maybe next week, but Night Radian, that's not stock. What is that?
That sounds like a series, Jason. That's not stock.
That's not stock.
Well, what is it?
Well, you'll hear more about it later. I'm not ready to talk about it.
Did you get it? I mean, can
What a
people buy
tease.
it?
I did a news article on it, and I got one in, and I'm doing a review on it. I'll have the review out next week, and then we can show it on the podcast.
I saw the news article. It piqued my interest.
Yeah, it's stinking awesome. I just say that.
What? Okay. Well, let's jump over and take a look at some news that we haven't discussed. This came out today, the DX5 Rugged. I custom made that photo, and I think that they should use it everywhere. Here's the Rugged. I don't know what I clicked on. Hey, it's a bandana from the 1880s. That is not what I meant to click on. Okay. And just in case anyone's keeping score, I think that bandana is stupid. So I'm not ordering that bandana. So this is what the Rugged looks like normally, and this is what you can do to it. Although I'm pretty sure I included a note that said, don't do that to this. Don't
do that.
So it's a Rugged transmitter, and it's for, these crawler guys. I had my son and my wife out on a walk, and I was telling them about God mode and how if you get stuck, you have to crawl your way out. You can't use your hands, and how people get really intense about it. The DX5 Rugged Instruction Manual details water resistant limitations. So what they're saying is you can't throw this thing in the lake.
Yeah, don't go swimming with it.
Pretty awesome. And not expensive either. We'll jump back into the magazine here. Lots of good stuff. Jason, tell me about this. Is this yours? Did you make this?
What is it? The 3D printed quad? I just find cool things. I'm like, you know what? That's newsworthy. But yeah, somebody came up with a 3D printed design, made it look like a rocket, put 4S on it, and I think they did 6S too. And they're getting, 100, 120 mile an hour or more now. I think the 120 was like on 4S. So just ballistic missile, like quad drone thing that's interesting looking.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I like neat things.
That could be your other thing. That doesn't look stock. And your other weekly could be, I like neat things.
I like things. That's my YouTube channel.
You know what I like? Turtles.
I like turtles.
I like turtles.
Apparently,
I don't watch the news because Grandpa watches the Powerball, and I was scared half to death.
Oh my goodness!
I watched that video so many times.
Yes, it's so funny. That was before the TikTok dances came around. Now it's all about the TikTok dances.
Okay, hold on. I don't know if the audio will work on this, but we're going to watch the Apparently Kid. This will make your day better. 130,000 people, apparently kid, do not have electricity in my town. And let me tell you, my wife's mother was about to lose it. And so I'm happy to say they got their power back.
Yes,
now,
it was
Jason,
great. And apparently, I've never been on
can you hear anything,
television before, but
negative.
Apparently, sometimes I don't watch the the news because I'm
apparently there's a roller coaster ride and it's a fair, and apparently it's very fun. And apparently,
so this is the Apparently Kid. If you haven't watched the Apparently Kid, just Google Apparently Kid, and then when you're like in a bad mood or something, and then when you're done, you'll be grinning like a cat. I promise. So the Jetty Carbon Gray Special is out. I wrote Jetty today. I wrote ZB, who is now our radio sponsor for the next year.
There you go.
Thank you, GB, or ZB.
GB on the mind.
ZB.
And I said, hey, do you guys want to be on the live broadcast? And he said, yes, we go live in 2 hours. And I was like, that is not a response. So they have their own live broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out doing that right now. So,
Nice.
okay, so this is what you were alluding to.
Ooh.
RC LED controller, change your lights in the air. Oh, yes, I read this because.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to show us what it looks like now.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's what everybody's been asking for since the first day that Radian came out.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted the ability to do that. I mean, changing it on the ground was way limiting what
Yeah,
it's
I was like,
capable
oh,
of.
I like this one, I guess. Let me go fly it. And then you're like, oh, I'll come down, I'll change it again. Now you can,
No.
it's got pre-programmed like light shows built in.
Man.
It actually separates the wings. And so the wings aren't counted as like one strip that's actually a left and a right. And they can actually, it's like NeoPixels. If you know anything about that, it's you can control them individually, colors, all that stuff. So it can actually do navigation lights, red and green, on just the tip, while the other lights inboard of that are doing other things. And it's pretty stinking cool. And you can scroll through all of the different shows and patterns while you're flying on the fly. So it's awesome.
It makes you want to buy it just for this. My story is I was at Nashbro flying my big cow plane, and then a night Radian went up, and it was like a night flyer times 100. It was brilliant. It flew like it floats. And I was like, I've got to own that. Jason won't sell me his. And now this thing comes out.
Yeah.
If I had an area near my house where I could throw it and fly it at night and then land it, I go buy one until some cop or somebody came by and told me to stop doing that.
It's the best $35 you'll spend on a night Radian, that's for sure. It's gonna change everything.
And a night Radian, just to be clear in my head, is $229. Let's verify that.
Is it? I don't remember. It's been a long time.
Night Radian, Horizon Hobbies. This has happened to me a lot. Slow.
$199. Your Google foo.
$199. What did I say? It was two. Yeah. Okay, so it's $200. But man, flies great. Great airplane in general, and then it's got lights on it. What more do you want?
Yeah, fun airplane, and also a great thermaling airplane if you want to try thermaling and soaring. It's not like the competition class gliders, but it will do it, and it's super safe and easy to fly, and you will be able to thermal with it and have a good time. So it's very versatile. I like versatile things too. That's another YouTube channel. It's versatile.
So you could throw this in the air and get up where the thermals are fatter, wider, and then chop the throttle and then go hunting around and see what you can find.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds like a lot easier than what I was trying to do with my DLG.
Yeah.
Ready for anything, the Bomber. So the Bomber pre-existed. This must be a new version of the Bomber.
Yeah, it's Axial.
Axial is the best. I was actually out looking for something that they might let me review today, and maybe this is it. It looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks like the Bomber.
I'm going to save that. So Mike.
Somebody laughed at that joke, by the way. I don't know who you.
Well, we could find out real fast. Let's see. Any laughing going on over here? I want to thank everybody in our live chat. Kazuma, Dwelzen, Nikolai Zinsley, Doyle Blevins, E-Powered RC, Jordan's RC is with us. Thanks, Jordan. Gary Sinclair, E-Powered RC has been in our live real flight field like every day. Wick says, hey, y'all. So, hey everybody over there. Mike, I want to thank you for joining us this week.
Hey, well, thank you for inviting me. I enjoyed it.
So I feel like we didn't get to talk to you enough. So will you join us next week?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll get you and Nick on, and we'll
Mike's P-51D Horizon review coming out tomorrow.
1.5 meter.
And then we can talk about it.
And we'll talk about Nikolai's latest review. And in between now and then, just stay in the shop. I want to report that the amount of people coming to the site has dramatically increased. I'm still working on getting old users back on the site, getting their passwords going and emails fixed up.
Yep.
And
here. Yep.
Yeah, it's at the very first of everyone being locked in, it was like an all-day affair of
yeah, way more of that happening. I need help.
And let me say that if you don't remember your username, password, or email address, I've only successfully got one guy going who didn't remember any one of those 3 things.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure how I did it with him, but most people I'm like, sorry.
I need some kind of information from you.
It's like,
Start over.
yeah.
It's not
Well,
that hard.
and some people are reluctant to do so. I could see if you had an account with a lot of posts, but you can go find that. But if you had an account with 2 posts,
that's one of the great things about being one of the oldest like RC websites in existence is people started, they've got 10 years or more now of legacy, and they're like, I don't want to lose my trader rating or my my data and stuff that I've had in my posts. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Count, yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
And since we're talking about trader ratings, hey y'all, before you buy something from somebody, go look at their trader rating and make sure you feel confident in this guy who might have 2 trader ratings or 0 posts. Everyone has to start somewhere. I get it. But if I'm going to send you $1,000 and they say, hey, will you send it money order or send it to me, friends and family? These are all red flags. Low trader ratings, friends and family, anything that's out of the normal. You need to step back. And that's just my personal observation as a guy who deals with, and so people will write me and I'm like, you got to email PayPal and get your money back. It's all you can do,
Yeah.
Jason, what do you do? So let's talk about, we're going to borderline go edgy here. Let's say that you got a guy and he's burned 2 people. Do you think it's better for that guy to get 2 bad trader ratings, or do you think that guy should be banned?
Well, the problem, I mean, there's differences, and it's got to be a case by case basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think one thing that can happen if you ban the guy is he just creates a new account and comes back and nobody knows who he is or what he's done, right? And then he gets like a pass and a do-over.
It benefits him, right?
Yeah, but if he just gets the bad trader ratings and then guys post about it on the Trader Talk section, which is our kind of discussions about buying and selling on RCGroups, so people kind of point out their good and bad experiences with other users to help. Just, it's like we're all family, kind of. We're all in the RC family, and so helping each other out, letting us know like who not to deal with or what happened. But and then you have to also know that there's always 2 sides to the coin. So one guy's opinion that a deal went bad, it could have been not the other guy's fault at all, and he did everything he could try to do to make it better, and the other guy's just stubborn and was just mad, and so you got to look at both sides. That's why I think we allow rebuttals to ratings. So if a guy leaves you a bad rating, you can reply to that and say, well, this is what, my side of the story. Here's how the deal went according to me. And, it's good stuff to read if you're looking to do a deal with somebody and just be knowledgeable. Right. That's all you can do.
Well, so overall, I think that RCGroups has a much better reputation for sales. Okay. My experience has been that of all of the sites I've dealt with, eBay, some of the other online sites, RCGroups is so much above the rest of them because the people are honest. The people put good prices on the merchandise to start with. There's no diddling around with, give me a low ball, or, I'm going to put a high price on there and wait for you to low ball me and we'll meet somewhere in the middle. Guys put fair prices on the merchandise. And it doesn't last very long. I mean, it's gone if you're not on the group looking for it. It gets sold pretty quick. So I think that speaks for itself.
And that's one of the things I would love to see eventually as a feature on our site is keyword triggers that would alert you if somebody posted a P51B in the classifieds without you having to have been on the site and looked at it within the first 10 minutes, that it would trigger an alarm and send you an email or message or whatever saying, hey, this is up for sale. And you're like, oh, yeah, I'll go get it. I think that's going to be pretty cool if we can get that implemented at some point.
That would be cool.
Think how fast things would sell with that. I mean,
they already sell pretty fast.
I was telling my son, I have a strategy that I list. Usually I say, this is my firm price. And occasionally somebody will come in and I'll go down a little bit lower and then they bail on me. They're like, sorry. And so my strategy, and this is top secret, I increase the price. I increase the price usually by $40. And then if that guy really wanted it, they always email me and go, hey man, I was going to buy that. And I'm like, I'll lower it in 5 minutes and you have a certain time frame to buy it. Otherwise it's going back up. And then they'll buy it,
Interesting.
And I think what it does is I'm the same way. I'm like, do I want it? Is that too much? Do I want to pay that? And then when the price goes up, you'll find out real quick if you really wanted it. I wanted it at that, It's an interesting technique. It worked for me again this week.
Nice.
So. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for being live with us. We hit the hour mark, even though we had a couple of false starts. Be safe out there and do your thing. Get in the shop, build something. Go buy a kit. That seems to be all the rage. I was on the phone with a company who shall not be named, who said they're selling not only planes, but everything that go with them. So people are building complete setups now and buying lots of stuff. So buy it while you can.
Build a kit challenge. The Build a Kit Corona challenge.
Well, you know what? I've got the concept written out and I'm still tweaking on it. So I got a little challenge that
somebody's going to take umpteen amount of Corona beer can boxes and use the cardboard to make an airplane out of it.
That's good.
Like a pizza box challenge. Yeah. Okay.
Gotta have some fun these days, right?
Yeah.
What else have you got?
Well, Mike, we sure appreciate you coming on.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on. I'll be glad to come back anytime.
All right. Bye to everyone in the live chat, and we'll see you on the virtual fly-in. And let's see what happens in the coming week. Who knows what's next? What cool stuff will happen? I'm Jim T. Graham with RC Groups, Jason Cole, Mike McDougal, and we are out of here.
Adios.